Well, investors continue to digest the latest retail sales numbers. Those were December numbers, and they showed that retail sales rose from November to December by 2.5%. That exceeded expectations by a wide margin and was the highest monthly growth figure in Canadian retail sales since 2021. Speaking about retail, we're also watching shares of Walmart. That retail giant beat estimates in its latest quarter, but of course has warned that tariffs could hurt profit going forward. Amit Joshi is portfolio manager at Barometer Capital Management, and he joins us now. Amit, thanks a lot for joining us. Let's start with these retail sales in Canada. I spoke with a longtime Canadian economist, Sal Guadieri at BMO Economics earlier today, and he says this is clear sign that the Canadian economy is starting to show life again, and in particular that Canadian consumers are beginning to respond to the multiple interest rate cuts from the Bank of Canada. What's your take on these numbers?
Hi, Paul. Thank you very much for having me on the show. Yeah, we'd agree with that. I think, the interest rate cuts have given Canadian consumers the ability to spend a bit more on discretionary spending and given a bit of life to the consumer itself. We do need to be cognizant of potential tariffs and those impacts as President Trump continues to hammer on the points of Canada as a 51st state. So that is something that we will be watching and as a potential slowdown to the economy. But for now, I think the retail sales numbers did come in line as we expected, given the interest rate cuts. So we are happy to see that.
I'm not sure if you've seen the headlines from Tiff Macklem's speech in Mississauga today. That speech, if it started on time, is only about 20 minutes old, so he's likely still talking. But as you know, the text is released in advance, and he's referred to an economic impact from a protracted trade conflict with the United States as, quote, severe. And he says a new crisis is effectively on the horizon if those huge U.S. tariffs emerge. What do you think of those comments?
Yeah, no, we would definitely agree with those comments. It's just a lot of unknowns on the back of.
Okay, as you can see, our connection to Amit Joshi has frozen up. He's portfolio manager at Barometer Capital Management. We're going to work on restoring that connection. We will take another look at markets, and I can show you stocks that are moving in the market as well. Okay, he's back, I'm told. So Amit, thank you for bearing with us. Let's go back to Amit. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can, Paul. Okay. My apologies.
No problem. It's not your fault. Connection froze up. Okay. You were in the middle of responding to the fairly pronounced comments by Tiff Macklem on the economic consequences to Canada from a protracted trade dispute with our largest trading partner.
Yeah, we'd agree with those comments. Obviously, there's a high likelihood that President Trump continues to hammer on the tariffs, and we continue to have some sort of impacts from that. And if those large amounts of tariffs were to come through, it would definitely impact the Canadian economy and Canadian businesses. And even through the headlines that we've seen related to Stellantis and their plans in terms of the Brampton plant. These are capital allocation decisions that businesses continue to hold off on as they look for clarity. And that's something the markets don't like is not having that clarity for sure. So that's something that we have to continually watch. We don't know the extent to which President Trump may enact these type of tariffs or what amounts, but it's something that we have to continually keep an eye on for sure.
Okay, let's go. We began our conversation by talking about retail sales. Let's go there again. What's your take on the consumer staple stocks or the consumer discretionary stocks right now?
Yeah, sure. In terms of consumer staples and consumer discretionary, they haven't been on the top of our list. For us, we've kind of shied away from the consumer space, just given the potential for impacts to the consumer themselves. Within the staples, our positioning would be towards the grocers in Canada, like Loblaws, and in the U.S. around Costco. So something that's a bit more protected from a spending standpoint, where consumers are going to continue to spend, and the likes of Loblaws have certain brands that can cater to a lower price point as well. So have a bit of protection from that and support from the Shoppers Drug Mart chain as well.
In the U.S., the big retailing story of the week was Walmart, which has been a spectacularly performing stock for its investors for some time now, but issued a forecast that fell short of expectations, and the stock was punished today. It's down again as well. What's your take on Walmart?
Yeah, when we took a look at the earnings, Paul, we thought the quarter itself was great and generally performed well. And I think there is some conservatism probably built in by management as they release their guidance. When a stock has done this well and the guidance comes in kind of shy of where consensus expectations are, it's not unlikely that you'll see the stock trade down, especially when there are concerns around sentiment in terms of what we could see from the economy or for the consumer if the tariffs do come through as President Trump has talked about. This will hurt the U.S. consumer as well. So that is something that we're seeing, and I think that's something in the price action of the stock that investors are taking into account. When we look at what we've seen from management itself within the guidance and how the stock the earnings came through, I don't think fundamentally much has changed for Walmart. The e-commerce business continues to chug along, and we are seeing margins trend in the right direction for that business line. So I think it's one to kind of continue to watch here. I don't think the story is derailed, but I think the sentiment is weighing on the price action.
Okay, why don't we finish quickly because we're almost out of time. I would love to know your thoughts on the electric vehicle stocks. Tesla is significantly off its high. There seems to be a cascade of negative news on this sector, including Stellantis today, which is also down.
Yeah, it's a sector that we've shied away from, Paul. We haven't had any exposure to either the Canadian auto part names or the North American auto players themselves. Just a tough business, especially when tariffs are front and center. These are complicated supply chains. These are parts that cross the border numerous times. So the impact of tariffs is very hard to digest. So it's been an area that we've shied away from.
Amit, thank you very much for this. Amit Joshi is portfolio manager at Barometer Capital Management.